أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I have something to share with you today because I made a mistake and I neglected one step in what I told you about Milan's phone call. So I fixed it here and I'm going to share it with you again. I got some feedback on that. Milan called and I told him about these revelations, and he said the following about 350 and its index 279. 279 plus 350 obviously is not 1143 as I mistakenly wrote it. It's 629. And 629 is the 514th composite. The index plus composite 514 plus 629 is 1143, which is 9 times 127. Okay? So you see that number that we had there at the top when I discussed it today is 1145, and 1145 generates 350 in the form of these two prime factors, namely 5 and 229. And so, as I say, the indices of these prime, namely 5 and 229, are 3 and 50, and so they generate 350, which is the 200, which the index of 350 is 279, and then 279, we read what verse 279 says. Also, there is another thing about 279. 279 actually is the frequency of Taha in chapter 20, which is called Taha. Okay? So remember that too. So that it generates all these parameters of the Quran. Let's put it that way. Okay? So now you can see this, and so I'll put this one up today. So we will fix that one, that mistake that we made today. Okay? All right. So let's go back to the recitation of the Quran, and let's see. So we are going to start from 160 to the end, which is 26 to 27, inshallah. Okay, and finish this chapter. Okay, Mona, here you go, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The people of Lot rejected the messengers. When their brother Lot said to them, "Would you not become God-fearing? Indeed, I am an honest messenger to you. Therefore, you shall fear God and obey. I do not ask you for any wage. My wage comes from the Lord of the multiverse. Do you prefer males of the world and abandon what your Lord has created for you as wives? You are truly transgressing people." They said, "O Lot, if you do not refrain, we will deport you." He said, "Indeed, I despise your actions. Lord, save me and my family from their acts." We therefore saved him and his family altogether, except the old woman who remained with the doomed. We then turned it upside down and showered them with a shower. What a miserable shower for those who had been warned. Indeed, in this there is a sign, but most of them are not believers. And indeed your Lord is the Almighty, the All-Merciful. The dwellers of Acah rejected the messengers. When Jethro said to them, "Would you not become God-fearing? Indeed, I am an honest messenger to you. Therefore, you shall fear God and obey. I do not ask you for any wage. My wage comes from the Lord of the multiverse. Be honest when measuring and do not cheat, and weigh with an equitable scale. Do not cheat people out of their belongings, and do not roam the land as corruptors, and fear the one who created you as well as the early generations." They said, "You are indeed bewitched, and you are no more than a human being like us, and we think that you are a liar. Therefore, bring down masses from the sky if you are truthful." He said, "My Lord knows best what you are doing." Therefore they rejected him, and the suffering of the day of the canopy overwhelmed them. Indeed, it was suffering of an awesome day. Indeed, in this there is a sign, but most of them are not believers. And indeed, your Lord is the Almighty, the All-Merciful. And indeed, this is a revelation from the Lord of the multiverse. The honest Spirit revealed it into your heart in order to make you one of the warners in a perfect Arabic tongue. It was indeed in the previous scriptures. Is it not a sign for them that the scholars of the children of Israel knew about it? Had we revealed it to non-Arabs, and if we had you recite it to them, they would have not believed. We thus fix it in the hearts of the guilty. They will not believe in it until they come face to face with the painful suffering. It will come upon them suddenly, and they cannot perceive. Then they say, can we have a respite? Do you not long for our punishment? Do you not see that we provided for you for years? Then it came to you what was promised. Their provision did not enrich them in the least. We never annihilated any community without warning. A reminder, and we are never unjust. The demons never revealed it. It is above them, and they can never do it. They are indeed forbidden from listening to it. Therefore, do not call upon any god besides God, lest you will suffer. You shall warn your relatives who are close to you, and you shall lower your wings for your followers who are faithful. And if they rebel against you, then say, I am not responsible for your actions. And put your trust in the Almighty, the All-Merciful, the one who sees you when you rise. And as you lead by example amongst the worshipers, indeed he is the all-hearer, the all-knower. Shall I inform you of those whom the demons descend upon? They descend upon every fabricator, sinner. They pretend to listen while most of them are liars, and the poets are followed by the transgressors. Do you not see that they are like weather vanes? And indeed they preach what they do not practice. Not so are those who attain faith and lead a righteous life and commemorate God frequently, and they shall attain victory after having suffered injustice. And the unjust will soon find out their final destiny.
Okay, mashallah. Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, very good. Are there any questions, comments, observations, any, discussions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Yes.
That I live 225 and preaching what you do not practice.
Yes.
And something we have to always be careful.
Oh.
And when we preach something, we have to also be following that.
Yep.
And remember that verse, I don't recall what chapter it was. Or you who believe, what do you say, what do you do not do?
That's right, yep.
Abran Maktan, the most abominable in the sight of God is to say what you do not do.
That's right, yep.
So,
yes.
very important verse. tonight.
Yeah.
That we have to, what we say is, it has to be something that an example for the people.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the radiation safety officer, and so you have rules and regulations, and so you have like for internal safety of radioactive materials, you have set of rules how you handle them. And so when they come and inspect your facilities, the first thing that the inspectors actually look into is your own manuals, and they want to see if you're actually following your own manuals that you have designed and you've written. Okay, so it is very important that people who are saying something, then they should actually follow their own rules and regulations. That's the minimum that they can do. Okay, so that's exactly what this is. This is that, they say something, but they never practice it themselves. And so this is the ultimate hypocrisy. And it is amazing that we are actually not just the hypocrisy of the situation is the deceiving other people that you really don't believe in what you are saying. See that? And that's really the crux of this matter, and it's so one has to be very careful. And you lose moral authority. You have no moral authority to tell other people what to do if you are not doing it yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing. There is no moral authority here on the part of somebody who does not practice what he or she preaches.
I was helping these refugees, and they have the audacity to say, "Oh, this infidel country." I mean, in very unappreciative that the way they, look down and see that these are the people who are welcoming them, and they are saying, So I say, listen, you are a Muslim, right? I mean, a Muslim country should be, as God described in chapter 2, the best community. That's
right.
God,
exactly.
That's for the face of the earth. So you should be the one who the people should be running to seek refuge. Yeah. Now you are a Muslim and you are running to a place that you call an infidel land. Well, what kind of hypocrisy is that?
Yep.
And you are begging an infidel. If you call him an infidel, you are begging him. You are running to his land. You are, hoping that he will help you. But you are calling him an infidel, and you are a Muslim.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nice. Salaam.
Walaikum salam. Anything else? Any other comments or observations? And
Assalamualaikum, Mr. Parvez.
Alaikum salam, Parvez, yes.
Could you go through the verses 193 to 200? It starts with the honest spirit revealed it into your heart.
Yes. In order to make you one of the warners in a perfect Arabic tongue, it was indeed in the previous scriptures, so it was forecasted, it was prophesied, if you will. Is it not a sign for them that the scholars of the children of Israel knew about it? Had we revealed it in non-Arabic to non-Arabs, and if we had recited to them, they would not have believed. We thus fix it in the hearts of the guilty. So the guilty, regardless of if they don't understand Arabic or do not, or do understand Arabic, it's just like as though you're talking in a foreign tongue to them. They will not accept it. They will not uphold it.
Does it mean it does not jive with their thinking or with their concepts?
Well, whatever it is, it's just because they are disbelievers, God basically prevents them from understanding it.
And does this also imply that the Quran needs to be translated? Have you revealed it to non-Arabs?
I'm sorry?
Does it also imply that the Quran should be translated? Because what is the analogy of it?
It should be translated. It should be told to them in their own tongue. Okay? Yeah. So you see, it says right here, like for example, we were just discussing this. Okay, this is 225. Okay. Where was that? Okay, 225. Okay. And indeed, they preach what they do not practice. Okay. It says, Arabic says, وَأَنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ مَا لَا يَفْعَلُونَ. They say something that they do not do. Okay? So, if you translate, they do say something they do not know, it doesn't have the impact that this statement has. And indeed, they preach what they do not practice. This is a common idiom that people use. For people who are hypocrites, they are not following their own rules and regulations that they set for themselves, and they say that they uphold. Okay, so this is a lot more familiar to people in English-speaking countries, that this is more understandable to them, and it has a more of an impact upon them, that they understand it better. Okay.
Yes, sir. And when it says the honest spirit revealed it into your heart, is that the mechanism that, the heart is part of a memory function?
That's part of the revelation. That's part of the revelation of the Quran. Yeah.
Because most of the time we attribute everything to the brain, but the heart also has something to do.
You see, there's also things here in this country that say that you learn it by heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means you memorized it. Okay, so that's something that's familiar to people. Okay, that somehow it became fixed in your memory. Okay, so you can take it as that.
At the end of the day, it is fixed to the soul of the person, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
It's just a language function. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Nishat. Yes, you have a lot of echo there.
I'm sorry, I've come to this room and it's empty, so it echoes. Hold on a sec.
I see. Okay.
Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Let me put it on my iPhone. So the question I have, I was reading Quran, and after our discussions last week about Khalifa and Vicegerent, and I came up with 2455, and if I may, I can read that. And then I know that you said that you're going to change some of these words to Vicegerent, but it talks in it doesn't specifically say Khalifa, but it refers to Khalifa.
I'm sorry, which verse are you referring to?
2455, verse 24.
2455, I'm sorry, okay.
55, yeah.
Hang on a second. Okay, let me go there, okay.
Okay.
24. Yes, I know. It's the root word of Khalifa.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, the reason I was saying that, yeah, the unique root of that word, which is khalafa, is khalifa. That one has been mentioned twice in the Quran. Otherwise, other roots has been mentioned many times. Okay, so it says God has promised those who have attained faith and lead a righteous life that He will make them substitutes on the land. Okay, so I said this falls upon all of us, and in this situation, in the case of a commandment that goes to David, that God instructs David how to behave as Khalifa, okay, is actually encompasses all of us. And so that should be an example, a paradigm for the rest of us. And those are the examples that God has brought in the Quran.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up, because it confirms what you said, that it's not just for specific people, it's for all human beings have been said.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
And here, do you think the word substitute should be changed with vicegerent too?
Yeah, I mean, I can change that to vicegerent. It also means substitute. Okay, that you are here as a vicegerent of God, and so you're substituting Him in this land. But again, you have to. I think the best way to call it in Farsi is Janashin. Okay.
Yes.
That would be the best translation.
Dr. Fazely, Ferio last week asked a question about the difference between Khalifa and Imam, and I was listening to the recording again, and I think you explained the Khalifa perfectly. Can you elaborate on the difference between Khalifa and Imam?
Imam means leader. Okay? What's his name was a leader. Pharaoh was a leader. Okay, he was Imam. But he took his people to hell. Okay, so Imam just means leader.
So it doesn't mean just because God calls somebody Imam, that's a righteous person.
No, it's the two are different. You see, Imam means a leader of a group. Okay? But the point is that in the case of Khalifa is somebody who has this responsibility that was given to him by God, and that includes all of us. And so we have to temper that with the instruction that comes from God, not to follow our ego. That's exactly what God tells David, okay, that do not follow your ego. So we have to be careful.
Thank you very much. That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, anything else? Any other comments or observations or any questions?
Fazely.
Yes. Yes.
Fazely.
Yes, go ahead, please. I cannot hear you.
We cannot hear you, Jerry.
Yeah. Let me now, as Jerry fixes his computer, let me just talk about this 160 and on. Okay, this is again. It goes back to the people of Lot rejected the messengers. Remember now, God says we have sent messengers to every community, and He says some of them we mentioned to you and some we did not mention. Okay, So there were messengers that went to the people of Lot, and then it actually the situation got so bad that God, the divine intervention was in such a way that it actually happened at the time of Lot. Okay, so here, when their brother Lot said to them, "Would you not become God-fearing? Indeed, I'm an honest messenger to you. Therefore, you shall fear God and obey. I do not ask you for any wage. My wage comes from the Lord of multiverse. Do you prefer males of the world?" Okay, so it this points to this abomination of homosexuality. Okay, and then God is saying here, further here, that, "And abandon what your Lord has created for you as wives, you are truly transgressing people." Okay. They said, "Oh Lord, if you do not refrain, we will deport you. We are going to banish you from our town, our land, so stop this nonsense. We don't want to hear this." Okay? And so, you see, the problem is that I talked about this before, that the abilities that God has given us in this worldly life are used for a different purpose by humans. Okay? The organs that are given to us as tools of reproduction are used for lust. Okay? So that's what we do. And God has allowed that. And he said, okay, you can have a wife, and this is how you do this. It's okay. Okay? The thing is that humans go beyond that. That they want to experiment with this in many, many different ways. And one of them is this, which has really no useful outcome. Absolutely nothing. Okay? So our situation, as I said that, remember I was talking about Khalifa, and then what you have to do is you have to make sure that you temper that. Those tools that you have, that God has given us, has to be tempered by the instruction and commandments of God. Otherwise, we are going to follow our ego and go into oblivion. That's exactly what happened to these people, okay? So here God says, they said, he said, indeed, I despise your actions. That's what now Lot is telling them. Lord, save me and my family from their acts. He doesn't want to have any part of this. Okay, because he understands that. Okay? And again we have these paradigms and these examples and these parables in the Quran that Joseph knew that he was not supposed to use the organs that God has given him, okay, as a sexual tool. That's why he rejected the wife of the governor. Okay? He understood that. 4,000 years ago, he understood that. Today, we still do not understand that, and we have all kinds of problems because of this, because we are using the ability that God has given us for the wrong goal, to achieve a goal which is not prescribed by God. Okay. So this is our situation, and this is exactly these people's situation. We therefore saved him and his family altogether, except the old woman who remained with the doom. Okay, and then we then turn it upside down, okay, and shower them with a shower. What a miserable shower for those who have been warned. Okay, and then God says here, indeed, in this there is a sign, but most of them are not believers because they see the sign, but they don't believe in it. Okay, they think that these are some kind of, some kind of bedtime story or something like that. And then again, and I want to just emphasize this, and indeed your Lord is the Almighty, the All-Merciful. I mean, can you imagine that? After all of these said and done? He has the might, but is the All-Merciful. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you cannot hear better news than this. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Boggles the mind. And indeed, your Lord is the Almighty, the All-Merciful. Okay?
Brother, instead of talking out of them or telling them that this is an abomination and that you shouldn't be doing this, we acquiesce to their wishes and pass laws. and now he can be a she and she can be a he. All kind of things. I mean, how do you think God will look at this? We just read what happened to this community.
Well, I just received a couple of things from a couple of graduate schools to write letter of reference for the student, and both of the places they refer to students as they. Okay, so anyway,
I was interpreting for this Somali lady, and on the, she went to this doctor, and they were asking all kind of questions regarding her health, and then the lady said, "What do I call you, he or she?"
Yeah.
And she was so offended. What do I look like? But the nurse, she has to follow the protocol, and you have to ask that. It's so bad.
Yep. Anyway, so.
I have a comment on the last verse of this surah.
Yes, please. Yes.
I mean, it's amazing that God says that if you lead a righteous life, attain faith, and commemorate Him, you will always have victory. So no matter what injustice is committed on you, if you follow His protocols, you will be victorious at the end. I mean, a very simple solution. We don't have to overthink, and we don't have to think about what's going on around us. All we have to focus is to lead a righteous life and commemorate Him frequently, and the rest is taken care by Him. There's no point in bringing in ourselves trauma by the injustice committed on us by people. So simple, God's solution.
Yeah. But God is telling us that, look, those people who commit injustice against you, they are not going to win. That's what the last statement is. And the unjust will soon find out their final destiny, okay? So they are not going to win. And so in the case of the believers, it says, not so are those who attain faith and lead a righteous life and commemorate God frequently. Again, we go to this, that we've been talking about it so much, that having God on our minds and our hearts and commemorate Him frequently, and they shall attain victory after having suffered injustice. Okay? There are a lot of injustice. There are a lot of unjust people here who may inflict injustice upon you. But God says, be patient, endure, persevere, and what's going to happen is that the unjust will soon find out their final destiny. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, they have destroyed themselves by committing injustice.
Yes, exactly.
It's not you who is destroyed. They themselves are destroyed.
Yeah, exactly.
And the way you explain the neutrinos and how each one is following God's path by the commandments, I mean, that is like teaching us absolute faith in Him and absolute trust in Him. I mean, at that level, everything is in control by God. So what are we so worried about?
It's amazing,
yeah.
It's
Why
amazing.
should we worry? I mean, it's time to forget about worrying. I mean, everything is by His commandment.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so. I mean, the way you explain it is so much hope, so much mercy.
And also, I mean, this shows how sublime God is. Okay, it's amazing that the tiniest thing in the universe is important to Him and has His respect. Okay, that knows exactly its destiny, and it doesn't matter how far away it is and what situation is actually this thing encounters. God knows exactly the destiny of this object, and that's the amazing part about this whole thing. And I was just going to show you the NGC 1068.
Isn't it MGC, not N?
N as in Nancy.
Oh, N as Nancy?
Yeah. There it is. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This thing is a spiral galaxy, and it's 47 million light years away from us. Okay? So that last 10 years that we've been accumulating the data in the ice cube, 80 of these neutrinos, that there are gazillions of them, they actually interacted inside the detector, inside the ice cube detector. Okay, and so that's the beauty of this thing. And as I said, is that every one of them, of those 80, they have a number. And then there are all these other neutrinos that they not interact here, but they interact other places. They interact inside the Earth. Okay, not inside the ice of the ice cube, but they interact inside the Earth and other planets, the Moon, and all kinds of places. Okay, they may interact inside this galaxy itself, but every one of them has a given interim, and what it's supposed to do, what kind of particle it's supposed to actually interact with, and it's absolutely mind-boggling and amazing. Okay, but that situation, that event that happens, that one is actually a signature for that particle, an ID for that particle. It's an identification for that particle. And so God actually stamps it and knows exactly what one of those objects is doing. Okay? And that is amazing.
Nothing is not important for Him.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you mentioned that everything is assigned a number and defines the uniqueness of each creation of His, it's itself a sign of hope for each of us. For everything.
It is. Yeah. Well, what I was saying about the that's not the ice cube that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Okay. That was a wicked one.
The ice cube, it comes here anyway. So there it is. Okay, that's messier. Okay, ice cube reveals neutrinos emanating from galactic neighbor. In the cosmic scale, it's a neighbor. Okay, with the gigaton, with the gigantic black hole image, NASA, JPL, Caltech, Roma, Trey University. Okay, so that's the one I will just show. The active galactic nuclei.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Okay. So as I said, out of all of those neutrinos are emitted from this, and then some of these, a lot of these neutrinos don't even interact. They just keep on going, and God only knows for how long. Okay. They could go for 1 million years. They could go for 10 million years. They could go for 100 million years and do not interact. Okay, and it is amazing.
And yet they don't want to believe in God when this is shown.
Exactly. And again, as I said, it goes back to the idea that so many people, the majority of the people have this huge stumbling block that make them trip and do not believe in the hereafter. Okay, even with the knowledge that we have today, that we know that from your DNA somebody can be produced which looks like you, acts like you, has the same kind of habits and stuff that you do. We know that it's happening. Okay, and so even with that knowledge, people still have problems with the hereafter. And as I said, when you see these tiny objects, that God has so much respect for them, that knows exactly their situation at any given time, okay, then you can imagine we are safe. We are all safe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And again, He has given us, every one of us, a unique signature, which is only good for you. And again, that goes back to this idea of fingerprint, okay? And those fingerprints, even your own fingers, the 5 fingers you have in your right hand, the 5 fingers you have in your left hand, they have different prints. They're not the same. And those do not match any other person, dead or alive, or yet to be born. Okay? Can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
That gives you a uniqueness, even this temporary body that He has created for us.
But knowing all this, you get the urge to prostrate to Him, actually. While others who don't want, who deny Him, are, in fact, most probably they are afraid of Him.
Yeah.
And are denying the truth. It must be some kind of fear, or they are afraid that they have done something. Maybe they don't know that God accepts repentance. I don't know what is that mentality for them to reject God, although the proof is so strong.
Yeah.
But anyways, for us, it's good news. It's always good. Thank you so much, sir, for this good news.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Anwar. Yes, go ahead, please.
Sir, I was reading a verse today, and I would like to share this, and also if you could give your understanding of it. It's Surah 65, verse 11.
Okay, 65, verse 11. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me just go there.
Yes.
Yes. Proven signs to you in order to take the faithful who lead a righteous life out of darkness into the light.
Yes.
And whoever has faith in God, He will admit him into paradises with flowing streams beneath them to abide therein forever. God thus provides the best provision for him. Okay, so
what struck me in this verse is that despite of leading a righteous life, there is probably a tinge of darkness in those people, which is removed by certain mechanism, like whoever I mean, to respect the signs of God and to have total faith in God. But despite that, there is a possibility that God removes that and leads them, removes the darkness from them and leads them to light. That's what I got out of that.
You know, I think what is really doing is that today, for example, we looked at these numbers, we looked at these pictures, we looked at all these discoveries. Okay, we looked at the fingerprint and all kinds of things that explain in the Quran. Those are the darknesses that's surrounding people who do not know about these things.
Oh, okay.
And then when you come out of that, the knowledge gives you the power. You see?
That's the light.
Then again, that's the light. And then again, you have to be very careful. Okay? Because immediately your responsibility is going to a higher level, much higher level.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because, see, the way I look at those neutrinos is completely different with the rest of those people. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because they may look at it as a source of, whatever. But the way that I look at it is completely different. I'm looking at it from the point of view that God is so sublime and cognizant, and he actually respects his own creation, and he knows exactly what those things are. And the rest of the people may not think that way. May think completely different type of thoughts about this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Okay? But again, we know that. Today we know that. And then with the idea of our own fingerprints, okay, we also in a situation, we are put in a situation that we know that how much uniqueness God has given every individual.
So
That's just a very small example. But that is unique only to you. And again, as I said, this is a temporary garment.
Mm-hmm.
This is a temporary garment. And it has these unique properties that you have it and I don't have it. Or I have a different property. That, namely, my fingerprints leaves a different smudge than yours. Okay? And that is the amazing part. It means that I'm unique and you're unique. And we do not share the same thing. And that's amazing. That's absolutely mind-boggling. And again, that shows the greatness of God. Okay.
Thank you so much for the enlightenment. Yeah.
You're welcome. And again, going back to those neutrinos and everything, it's again, every one of them is unique, and it doesn't matter what the number is. Okay. So, in the 1987A, which was the supernova in the Large Magellanic Cloud, in that explosion, there were 10 to the 60 neutrinos. That means one with 60 zeros in front of it. Okay, that's how many. And you know that the numbers that are mentioned in the Quran are larger than that. The idea of the Mersenne prime in chapter 42, which is 2 to the power 4253, actually has 1,281 digits, not 60 digits, 1,281 digits. And that shows the extent, okay, of God's creation and how big God's creation is. And there's no end to it.
I mean, the average man is so limited, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that we should go ahead and quit for tonight. Okay, and inshallah we hear from you next week. And let's see, 3, 4. Okay, all right. So we have a couple of requests for Al-Fatiha. So we are going to do 4 tonight. Okay, all right.